Hello, you are welcome to the Neurobehavioural lab of the Pharmacology Department, College of Health Sciences, University of Abuja. My name is Dr. Umarudeen, Ajibola, Monisola, and with me is Malam Abubakar, and this is my assistant,
Mohammed Suleiman.
This presentation is on the experimental procedure used in the appraisal of the neurobehavioral toxicity potential or putative and existing psychoactive agent. In the present study, the neurobehavioral toxicity potential of aqueous methanol, leaf and seed extracts of Tapinanthus, Globiferus, Mucuna pruriens, Datura metel, and tramadol will be evaluated using standard behavioral experimental paradigm. Neurobehavioral toxicities are a collection of special adverse drug reactions that manifest as either neurological deficits or negative behavioral alterations, or both, in man and animals, when certain psychoactive drugs are administered. These toxicities often result from central nervous system depression or activation, alteration of the brain, neurotransmitter system, and or perturbation of the peripheral muscular nervous system. These toxicities comprise sedation/hypnosis, memory or cognitive deficit, locomotor impairments, abuse and addictive liability, loss of balance and motor coordination may infrequently occur at therapeutic doses, but invariably manifest when psychoactive drugs are taken in high doses, as frequently seen in accidental or intentional overdose or chronic use. These special adverse drug reactions are frequently encountered with the use of otherwise highly efficacious benzodiazepines, thus limiting their clinical usefulness, especially for chronic, long-term therapeutic purposes. It is therefore now necessary in neuroscience drug discovery research to evaluate putative psychoactive agents for the presence of the above listed toxicities, in addition to general toxicity and efficacy studies. Extracts of Tapinanthus globiferus growing on Azadirachta indica tree, Mucuna pruriens, and Datura metel, which are the medicinal plants under the current study, are already being investigated for their anxiolytic, anti-Parkinsonian, and antidepressant activities in other studies, and it was deemed necessary to proactively screen these extracts for their liability or otherwise to these neurobehavioral toxicities. Thus, these studies set out to evaluate the sedative, hypnotic, cognitive, locomotor, and myo-relaxant effects in mice exposed to high oral doses of aqueous methanol, leaf and seed extracts of these mentioned medicinal plants, and tramadol using standard rodent behavioral experimental paradigms. The sedative potential of the extracts and tramadol to be evaluated for their locomotor activity in mice using a digital active photometry protocol. Their hypnotic potential in mice will be determined using the diazepam-induced sleep potentiation assay. Their myo-relaxant potential or negative effect on balance and coordination in mice will be determined using the beam or rod walking paradigm. And their negative cognitive potential in mice will be evaluated using the movement object recognition test. Evaluation of the effect of aqueous methanol, Tapinanthus globiferus extract, Mucuna pruriens, seed extract, Datura metel, leaf and seed extract, and tramadol on locomotor activity of mice. The evaluation of the sedative effect of the extract and positive control drugs on the mouse locomotor activity was done using digital active photometer-based experimental protocol. An active photometer is a square or circular chamber which consists essentially of 5 to 6 horizontal light beams from one side of the chamber onto a set of photocells situated on the opposite side of the same chamber. A floor embedded with grid lines through which varying degrees of electric current are passed, and a sealed glass at the top of the device for introducing the experimental animals into the chamber. A set of beams are inputted into the machine, and whenever any of these beams is crossed, a record
a count is recorded against such time. And at the end of the 5 to 10 minutes duration, the procedure is stopped and the such horizontal activity counts are taken.
The photo cells are coupled to a digital counter which records a count when an animal interrupts the horizontal light beams and it moves within the closed chamber, either spontaneously or as facilitated by the non-injurious electrical current in the chamber's fuel rod grid lines. A current of 20 volts, gentle enough for the experimental mice, was used throughout this assay. The test takes advantage of the relationship between mental alertness and ambulation or locomotion in mice and humans, with CNS depression or activation causing reduction or increase in locomotory activity respectively. The test is a 2-part procedure consisting of baseline and post-treatment trials. Briefly, untreated mice were each individually exposed to the actophotometer test apparatus and allowed to freely explore the chamber for 10 minutes. Their respective activity scores were recorded against each mouse. 30 minutes after baseline activity was done, the mice were then randomized into 7 groups, with one group given a dose of distilled water, aqueous methanol of Tapinanthus Globiferus leaf extract, aqueous methanol of Mucuna pruriens seed extract, and aqueous methanol of Datura metel leaf extract, and as well as Datura metel seed extract, with tramadol 133 mg per kg and aqueous diazepam 2 mg per kg. 1 hour following their respective treatment, mice were each be exposed to the test for 10 minutes, and the activities were recorded by the digital counter on the device. The caution was taken to stop the counter to get the activity record for test subjects after each trial and was reset before the next trial. The basal and post-treatment activities for each mouse were compared, and the mean percentage reduction or increase in activity was recorded in a way that each mouse acted as its own control. Actophotometric evaluation of horizontal locomotory activity in rodents has some advantages over the alternative protocol based on the use of open field and whole field meshes. One actophotometric paradigm is fast, simple, and with minimal errors due to the semi-automatic digital counting of locomotory activity as opposed to manual estimation in the alternative protocols. Results are reproducible because it avoids the one prior tolerance effect commonly associated with the 2 alternative assays earlier highlighted, i.e. open mesh field and whole field mesh. Previously, actophotometer has been deployed in the evaluation of the locomotion-related CNN-dependent effects of several medicinal plant extracts, including those of panel-descent root and Limonia acidissima. Our findings in this assay indicate, compared to distilled water, treatment aqueous methanol extract of Tapinanthus Globiferus and Mucuna pruriens seed extract, even at 1,500 mg per kg, did not alter locomotory activity of the tested mice. The Datura metal extract at 750 mg per kg, tramadol at 133 mg per kg, and diazepam 2 mg per kg caused significant reduction in mean locomotory activity of the mice. This suggests a CNN depressant potential of Datura metal extracts, comparable to the already known CNN depressant activity of tramadol and diazepam. Evaluation of the hypnotic effect of acute high oral doses of aqueous methanol extracts of Tapinanthus Globiferus, Mucuna pruriens, and Datura metal extracts. This evaluation was done using a diazepam-induced sleep pulsation test according to the procedure of Rakoto Lina et al. 2001.
Outside the effect of diazepam, standard anxiolytic, we need to ensure that new positive agents and active molecules in our extracts do not have similar toxicities. This Neurobehavioural adverse effects include myo-relaxant, sedative, cognitive, locomotory, and hypnotic
adverse effects.
This paradigm relies on the additive hypnotic effect of co-administering diazepam, a non-serotonin antidepressant drug, with another psychoactive agent with a serotonin antidepressant property. In brief, randomized experimental mouse groups were given high oral doses of extracts, tramadol, and negative control, which is listed. And 1 hour later, these same groups of mice were treated with 30 mg per kg diazepam orally, and were now observed for the sleep pattern they would exhibit. Sleep onset was taken at the time gap between last oral treatment and complete loss of writing reflex, while sleep duration was taken at the time gap between the complete loss and full return of the writing reflex in the experimental mice.
Yes, these are mice at different phases of alertness. This one is still lightly alert, so the writing reflex is very much intact. This one is dazed, but despite that, the writing reflex is still intact. You see, he's turned back on his feet. But this one, the writing reflex is totally lost.
Care must be taken to get accurate timing for the onset of sleep of the experimental mice, many of which may go into sleep while standing on their forepaws. Sleep onset in the mice is determined by gently pushing them from one side of the trunk with an intent to tip them over. Sleep is deemed to have commenced in any mouse that is successfully completely tipped over, with nil attempts to return to standing position. Any effort by a mouse to return to erect position from any other position indicates the animal is yet to commence full sleep. Our findings indicate, compared to the negative control treatment, Aqueous, Ethanol, Tapinanthus, Globiferus, leaf, and Aqueous, Ethanol, Mucuna, pruriens seed at high doses neither shortened sleep onset nor elongated sleep duration, while Datura mental extracts at 750 mg per kg and tramadol at 133 mg per kg significantly reduce sleep onset time and prolong sleep duration. Previously, this experimental assay has been used to detect hypnotic property of L. angustifolia, M. officinalis extract, Scopora docilinin, and Cissus conifolia extracts in rodents. Mice has different level of consciousness. To get the exact time, the exact onset of sleep, you may have to turn individual mice on their side. For this one, when it has lost the writing reflex, it means that sleep has actually commenced. And then you start timing the onset of sleep. And when the writing reflex returns, that is the end of duration of sleep. This one hasn't lost the writing reflex, so sleep has not commenced in this mice. This one still very much alert. This one too has not lost its writing reflex. This has not lost its writing reflex. This is still very much active. This has lost its writing reflex. So sleep has commenced in mouse number 3.
Hello. You're welcome to the Neurobehavioural Laboratory of the Department of Pharmacology and Therapeutics, Faculty of Basic Clinical Sciences, College of Health Sciences, University of Abuja. I am Dr. Umarudeen Ajibola. The audio-visual recording that you see is on the assessment of motor coordination
and balance in rodents. And loss of motor coordination and balance is one of the fallouts of either a pathological process or as a result of psychoactive substances. This assay is used to measure motor deficits in rodents. And the principle is simple. It relies heavily on the coordination between the central nervous system and the skeletal system in coordinating posture and movement. It relies heavily on the instinct of rodents to grip, spontaneous gripping, when it appears to be about losing their grip, their balance. You can see this is a simple tool. The main components are the bars or the rods. This is actually a variant of several types of beam walking test. The variant we're using is actually a rod walking test. You see the rods are of different sizes, from 2 mm to about 8 divided by 8 mm. The narrower the rod, the easier for the 4 arms of the mice to breathe.
Evaluation of the myo-relaxant or negative effect on balance and motor coordination potential of selected medicinal extracts and tramadol in mice. This was determined using the beam or rod walking paradigm. Degree of loss of motor balance and coordination is directly proportional to the level of CNS depression and myo-relaxation, two of the well-established toxicities of the benzodiazepine anxiolytics. The apparatus made use of for this test consists of a 60 centimeter long horizontal iron rod, which may have different diameters, 2 mm, 4 mm, 6 mm, or 8 mm. This horizontal iron rod is supported on a pair of vertical wooden beams set 50 centimeters apart on a flat, level surface. The principle behind this test derives from the instinct of rodents to grip or grab objects in their proximity when suspended or floated loosely in the air. This assay is a 2-day assay. On day 1, the training day, where no treatment is given, mice were each subjected to a screening trial by being lifted and flipped on the 2 mm rod suspended on the beam balance. Mice that were able to hold on to, climb, or stay on the horizontal rod bar, or walk across the rod to now stay on top of any of the two vertical beams without falling off for at least 5 seconds were instantly selected for the main test the following day. Mice falling off on their first attempts were given 2 additional trials. Mice that passed the test on their second attempts were not tried the third time. All mice which passed the trial on the first, second, and third attempts were deemed to have qualified for inclusion in the main test the following day. On the main test day, 1 hour following treatment of randomized groups of mice with either the negative control, which is distilled water, or extracts, or tramadol, or diazepam 2 mg per kg, were each subjected to the test, but this time on the 4 mm iron rod. Time spent on the beam balance by each mouse was determined using a time a timer. Scoring for the time spent by the mice staying on or holding onto the rod was done as prescribed by Bacon 2013, with modifications as follows. Mice falling off between 0 and 5 seconds were scored 1. Those that fell off within 6 to 10 seconds were scored 2. Within 11 to 20 seconds were scored 3. And within 21 to 30 seconds were scored 4. Mice that stayed on top of the rod for or longer than 30 seconds were given 5. Holding onto the rod by placing one or both forepaws on it without falling for 30 seconds were given 5. And climb onto the top of the rod with all fours on it at any time within 30-second period were also given 5. Reaching any of the vertical support beams at any time within test duration were awarded 5. The scores were collated and recorded for each mouse group. Intergroup comparison of the main performances on this set were made. Compared to other tests for elucidating balance and motor coordination deficit in experimental animals, i.e. rotarod wheel rolling test or Barnett's test, this assay is said to have the following advantages. It is operationally simple, it is cost-effective, and it has greater motor deficit sensitivity and predictive capability to clinically relevant sedative benzodiazepine doses. Our findings on this assay compare with distilled water treatment of made performance of 5. Aqueous ethanol Tapinanthus leaf extract had a made performance of almost 5, and that of Mucuna pruriens seed extract had 5, equivalent to distilled water group. But the aqueous extract of Neuro-Mental leaf and seed extract significantly had reduced performance on this test, just as tramadol also had very low performance on this test. This may suggest that they have myo-relaxant toxicity potential, and that extracts of Tapinanthus Globiferus and Mucuna pruriens seed extract may not have myo-relaxant or antidepressant toxicity potential. Evaluation of the cognitive effect of high oral doses of aqueous methanol, Tapinanthus Globiferus, Mucuna pruriens, Neuro-Mental, and tramadol in mice. The novel object recognition test, NOT, will be adopted to assess the effects of the extracts and tramadol on short-term memory in mice. The NOT apparatus consists of a weld square open field containing no objects on the first day, but containing similar objects placed at opposite corners of the test apparatus on test day, that is day 2. The test relies heavily on the natural proclivity of rodents for novelty. Novelty was created in this test when one of the initial similar objects at the first mouse exposure was replaced with a comparatively dissimilar object at the second and final exposure. Novel object recognition tests, when compared with alternative cognition assessing protocols, e.g. Monisola, maze, and Barnett's test, is viewed to be simpler, more sensitive, less time consuming, less stressful on the experimental subjects, and has greater face validity for human memory. Briefly, on the first day of the 2-day protocol, experimental mice were each trained to familiarize with the test environment and apparatus by being gently dropped in the middle of the apparatus and allowed to freely explore the test environment for 10 minutes and then returned to the home cage. The second day, i.e. the test day, mice were each individually re-exposed to the apparatus, but this time around with 2 similar white plastic containers placed at the opposite corners within the test apparatus. The mice were allowed to explore freely for 10 minutes, with only those which explored each of the plastic objects for a minimum of 20 seconds of the test period deemed to have met inclusion criteria for the main cognitive test. Subsequently, mice that were deemed to have qualified for the definitive cognitive test were randomized into groups, with a group receiving either distilled water, Tapinanthus, Globiferus, Mucuna, pruriens seed extract, or Datura Neuro-Mental leaf and seed extract, or tramadol, or diazepam. 1 hour following treatment and 4 hours after the first re-exposure, that is the 4-hour retention time, mice were again exposed to the test for a 5-minute period, during which experimental mice were allowed to freely explore the test environment, but this time around with one of the white plastic containers replaced with similarly shaped but red-colored plastic container. Time spent by each mouse exploring the objects were recorded. Recognition of preference index was calculated to be the proportion of the time spent on the novel object divided by the total time spent on both objects multiplied by 100. Mean recognition indices were calculated and integral comparisons made. Our findings indicate, compared to the mean value of 54.11% of mice treated with negative control, single high oral doses of both Tapinanthus, Globiferus, and Mucuna pruriens seed extracts did not reduce, but instead caused some improvement in the mean recognition indices. In contrast, compared to the control mouse group, high oral doses of Neuro-Mental leaf and seed extracts, tramadol, and diazepam all significantly caused a reduction in the mean recognition performances in mice exposed to them. Additionally, most of the mice treated with tramadol, Neuro-Mental extracts displayed unusual fearful trepidations similar to hallucinatory agitations, especially when in proximity with the red novel objects. This visual presentation has demonstrated practical aspects of procedures used in appraising the neurobehavioral toxicity potential of putative and existing psychoactive agents. In this study, Tapinanthus, Globiferus leaf, and Mucuna pruriens seed, and Neuro-Mental extracts. The findings of this study indicate Aqueous, Ethanol, Tapinanthus, Globiferus, and Mucuna pruriens seed extracts may not have significant neurobehavioral toxicity potential and may even enhance cognition. Whereas Aqueous, Ethanol, Neuro-Mental leaf and seed extracts, tramadol, and diazepam may be liable to sedative, hypnotic, myo-relaxant, anti-cognitive adverse drug reactions. While these findings may justify the traditional uses of Tapinanthus species and Mucuna pruriens for memory enhancement and for the treatment of neurological diseases, They may also justify the morbid and fatal toxicity risks associated with the use of Datura mental extracts, tramadol, and the benzodiazepines. Thank you for listening to this presentation. My name, once again, is Dr. Umarudeen Ajibola Monisola of the Department of Pharmacology and Therapeutics, Faculty of Basic Clinical Sciences, College of Health Sciences, University of Abuja, Abuja, Nigeria, Africa. Thank you.